So some of you are probably going to take a hard look at this cover page here, and probably the thumbnail, and be like, I recognize this. I recognize this from somewhere. And if you do, well, let's just, yeah, let's just get that out of the way first. So, if you recognize this, and you haven't actually read this manga series that has a lot of chapters about it, this is actually a series that started off as, correction, as a dojin. An H-Manga, so to speak. And eventually, because of its popularity and just how good that apparently was, it actually started to get serialized and became a very wholesome and just wonderful romance manga, legitimately. A really good manga. And I sat down, I caught up with it, and I gotta say, other romance manga crawled for Imaizumin could run. That's how this series is. And so let's get out of the way. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about this. So this isn't necessarily a meme video. I know many are going to probably come into this video and being like, okay, Chibi, you're memeing us. This is obviously not that good. It can't be that good and all that. And to be fair, most people that are probably going to start this is probably because it was based on a dojin. But the thing is that because of the interactions of the characters and the chemistry and just the way it was presented, there was a lot to build on with the characters. There was a lot of unique personalities with the female characters and the main male character, and this series isn't necessarily completely shallow. It is not revolutionary, it is not groundbreaking, because I have seen stories kind of tackle some of these topics, and yes, even tackle topics to where the character is obviously getting it on while the series is progressing, and then, those series don't actually have a dojin it's based on. So this series doesn't necessarily have like revolutionary like storytelling, etc., even artwork, but the artwork is pretty freaking good. Like, it is, like, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, anyone that's read the series knows it's got good artwork. It does. But anyways, I'm trying to keep this serious. The point of the matter is that we have our main male character that is surrounded by just a lot of beautiful female characters. And most of the story, the early chapters, is kind of reintroducing the cast because it's trying to play on the fact that, most likely some people that are starting this manga has never read the dojin, so it's like, you don't need to know that. It kind of reintroduces the characters to a degree, like letting you know their individual personalities, who they kind of are, while also establishing more to their character that the original, I guess, one-shot never did. And I like the presentation of this manga, and also some of the issues that kind of pop up here that honestly I think many that were reading to this point, like if you made it to, let's say, chapter 12 here, probably were thinking, like, does he not have, like, anything that, he can feel about this? Like, he doesn't feel like he's worthy, etc. And he has stuff like this. Like, here, I just, like, take a quick look at this. So basically, he's like, that's why I know I have to work hard, because he's surrounded by beautiful women that obviously love him. He's getting it on. He's basically Rentaro from 100 Girlfriends, but he's actually getting action, so to speak. And this man's like, I wonder if a day will come when I'll be able to confidently walk side by side with them. I don't have any talent at all. And basically, like, he feels like he's not worthy. Is he worthy of a very comfortable and happy life? And I like this, because this is elements of the story that I could dive into that obviously, makes a lot of sense. Coming from a series that was established as a dojin, it's a very unique perspective, because we're getting to see a character that isn't necessarily like a Giga Chad or, alpha or whatever. He's someone that tries to be, and the very premise of the story, actually, if you want to know the true actual story, is that he was kicked out of his house. He had to live by himself, and basically, thanks to circumstances, he met, the beautiful girls of the story, but, his father was like, I want you to be independent, and I want you to act more like a man. He wants it to be manly, not be, like, very feminine, etc., and most of these chapters and all that, you just see that, he's obviously well-liked. It's very apparent from the chapters, but, he still wants to be manly. At least he wants to be perceived that way, and so a lot of this is him finding himself, discovering what he really wants to be. And I even find it hilarious, actually. There's a chapter around, like, chapter 5 or whatever, to where the character actually, he with all this information coming out, like, he wants to be manly and stuff, he gets actually dressed up as, like, pretty much a femboy. Like, yeah, he becomes pretty much a femboy. They cross-dress him and all that, and they literally take him out on a date. Like, all the girls take him out to a restaurant while he's dressed up, basically, in women's clothes. It's hilarious because of the concept of him wanting to be perceived, you know, masculine or manly, and that happens. It's just, there's little layers here and there that plays with the tropes and the themes of the story, and it legit isn't, like I said, it isn't a shallow series. And once again, there is some things that obviously it plays to the nature that it knows what it is, because once again, it's like, these characters right here, you can see they're hiding in the closet right here, and to kind of explain is that the mother of the main male character got introduced into the story, and it's like, oh, let me check on my son, make sure my son is doing okay. And it's like, oh, how is the parents gonna feel finding out that their son is literally pretty much shacked up with 3 different girls staying with him in... You know, it's just, yeah, that type of stuff going on. And so they have to hide and all that, and, you know, trying to introduce these girls to the mother is pretty interesting. Like, how's that going to work out? Because this isn't a typical situation. Like, to kind of explain, when we have, like, romance manga or harems, whatever, yeah, this is a typical situation where either a sister character, mother character, whatever, comes into the room to check if the main male character is okay. Well, that's a typical plot point. But the thing is that it's not typical for one element, and that is that the main character obviously does have a very complicated situation, because he isn't necessarily just having someone stay with him, he is literally shacked up with them, continuously action, and it's just like, oh, how is his family gonna feel about this? And so, once again, all these type of questions and stuff play with the story, and it's very smart. And once again, it's not often this happens to where, like, a dojin becomes an actual manga series, and once again, it's very wholesome, too. It's actually wholesome. Because the character is trying to learn and better himself, and also make these girls very happy as well. They each have their own objective in life, and so to speak, and I don't know, I like it. Obviously, there's probably going to be more to this, more drama, etc. in the future and all that, but I think that just Imaizumin, from its chapters, it's a really unique take on the genre, even if it isn't fundamentally reinventing the wheel. It's unique because of just the way its origin story was. And once again, if you push aside the memes, the culture, etc., it's unique. That is unique in its own self, because of just how it could tell a story when it knows what it is, and it doesn't need to skirt around things like, oh, can we kiss, can we hold hands? It doesn't need none of that. It's actually kind of more of a mature story for adults, like, legitimately for adults to read. And I like that. I like being able to read manga or watch anime that feels more adultish, and you're able to, like, appreciate it, because it's like, I can relate with these characters more. So yeah, I really like this. Like, memes aside, I do think that, if you can look past, obviously, its origins and where it came from, and all that, if that bugs you to some degree, well, I don't think you're probably gonna like the series if that bugs you, but, I mean, it's not just that content. There actually is a story at work here that is legit good. Like, it is a good manga. Like, unironically. And the artwork is just... it's great. Like, I mean, here's a picture of one of the characters, like, you know, one cover. It's just... the artwork is really good. And, I mean, it makes sense what the artist has done throughout, you know, their history of writing manga. So, it makes sense. But, still, just, artwork is really good as well. So, if you also are a sucker for good art, give the series a read. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. Just wanted to give a shout out to Imaizumin, because I have been told by a lot of people in the comment sections and on Twitter, etc., that, you know, stop playing Chibi, why don't you actually review this series? So there you go. There is my overall impressions of it. And if you would like more videos on this series or something, or similar videos, do let me know in the comments below. But anyways, be safe, stay healthy, everyone. I love you. Chibi out.